a specialized high school in New York City, applied to all of my colleges with a super score. Moving on to ECs and high school classes. The next part is interviews. My GPA. Hi, and welcome to my college stats video. So a lot of you guys wanted a stats video after seeing my college decision reactions video, and so I'm finally making one. I have all of my stats, so I'll be looking like down in this direction. But yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the stats. I'm gonna start off with a little bit of background because I feel like background's kind of important when it comes to college applications. So I'm from New York City and I attended a specialized high school in New York City. If you don't know what that is, it's like a test-in high school, still a public high school though. And it was a large public high school, so I had about 900 students per grade. Moving on, we're gonna go actually into our stats right now. So the first thing is test scores. I didn't take the ACT, but I did take the SAT a total of 3 times. I had the same score the first 2 times I took the SAT, so I got a 1520 on both, with a 720 in English and an 800 in math both times. And the third time I took it, I got a 1540 with a 770 in English and a 770 in math. So I applied to all of my colleges with a super score of 1570, so 770 in English and 800 in math. And I also took the SAT 2 Biology N exam, which they're gone now, but I did take it freshman year, so I did end up putting it on all of my applications, and I got an 800 out of that. And for GPA, my school only did unweighted GPA, and it was out of 100. So my GPA was a 96.19, and that's what I applied to all of my colleges with. And my school also doesn't do rank, so I have no idea what my rank is. And for APs, I took a total of 7 APs, which to some people might be a little bit low, because I feel like in a lot of these videos, people take like 15 or like 20. At my school, like people usually took like 6 to 9 APs. Freshman year, I took AP Bio and I got a 3. Sophomore year, I took AP Chem and AP World History and I got 5s on both. Junior year, I took APUSH and AP Lang and I got a 4 on both. And senior year, I took AP Calc BC and AP Gov and I got a 5 in AP Calc and I got a 4 in AP Gov. Then high school classes, you guys can just pause it because there's a lot of classes. I'll just have them up on the screen. And then we're gonna move on to honors and awards. So this is in order. So the first one I put was the President's Gold Volunteer Service Award, and I got this in 9th and 11th grade. And then the second one, I put the President's Silver Volunteer Service Award, and I got that in 10th grade. And the third one, I put President's Bronze Volunteer Service Award, and I got that in 11th grade as well. The fourth one, I put AP Scholar with Distinction, and I got that in 11th grade. And the fifth one, I put National Merit Commended Scholar, and I also got that in 11th grade. So a lot of my honors and awards were volunteer-based because I did a lot of volunteering in high school. I was also awarded the Gates Scholarship, but when I was applying to colleges, I didn't know that I received it. Like, I think the results came out like April or like March-ish, so I wasn't able to put that on my application, but that is also a scholarship that I received. Then we're gonna move on to recommendation letters, which I feel like sometimes can be overlooked in college applications, but I think that they're pretty important. Got 2 recommendation letters, one from my pre-calculus teacher and the other one from my AP Lang teacher. Both were teachers in my junior year. I think for recommendation letters, it's really good to know what teacher is going to be doing your recommendation letter before senior year. In my high school, they kind of made you like write down like who is going to be writing your recommendation letters like at the end of junior year, so that you would know by like senior year like what teachers you would have. And I feel like that takes off a lot of stress from asking recommendation letters. And I think it's really good to have one in STEM related subjects and one in humanities, because I feel like that shows that you're like well-rounded. And also just try to ask teachers that know you very well. So for me, I asked my AP Lang teacher because she knew me for 2 years in my freshman year and my junior year. So I thought that she would know me a little bit better and write me like a better, more personal recommendation letter. Moving on to ECs, the Common App gives you 10 spots to put your ECs in, and I did put all 10 of them. So the first one I did was I put it under cultural. So I was the chapter lead / internal communications director of my school's club called Bridging Seas, which is a global pen pal program spanning 5 countries. So basically, we would connect Asian American students from my high school to Asian students from different high schools abroad. We would email these high schools directly to get in touch with like the officials at the high school, and we would pair students based on like interest and also like their ethnicity, and it was a way to just like help Asian American students feel more connected to their heritage, and also could be used as like a language learning opportunity. So as internal communications director, I wrote a lot of emails to these schools, also to like our different members and external programs, and help directed club meetings, and also just partner with outside organizations, and also help publicize our club by being there at club fairs and also other like organizations and events. So I started this sophomore year, so I did it sophomore to senior year. Then the next thing I did was community service / volunteer. So I was part of the Youth Community Project Team, or YCPT, which is a group that's part of the Korean American Family Service Center, or KAFSC. So we are a youth-led group that wishes to combat domestic violence. So we would learn a lot about the different types of domestic violence and how to identify them, and also how to like stop it and what to do in the case that we ourselves go through domestic violence, or we know someone who is going through domestic violence, and just inform the public about domestic violence by handing out like different flyers, bags. And one notable event that we did was the Silent March, which was an annual march where we walked down the streets of Flushing completely silent to kind of show like how silenced these survivors / victims of domestic violence are by society and by their abusers. And I did this all throughout high school, so starting from my freshman year to my senior year. Then the next thing I did was music related. So I was a first violinist at the Nassau Symphony Orchestra, which is a part of a bigger orchestra organization called MAYO. So we would annually perform at 3 concerts, the last one being Carnegie Hall. I did this all throughout high school, so from freshman year to senior year. The next thing I did was I was a news writer for my school's newspaper. So we would write articles on school news and also like outside news, and I would interview teachers and students to write like their thoughts onto these articles. And I started this my sophomore year until my senior year. The next thing I did was I put it under academic. I participated in a Johns Hopkins pre-college program called the Medical School Intensives. We would participate in medical seminars. We did like research projects on medical articles. We learned how to like suture, and also did the like anatomy of the human body. We also did like labs and stuff. I did this during summer break my sophomore year. The next thing I did, I put under art. So I was the vice president of my school's crochet club. I helped charter our crochet club, which was beginner friendly, and I would help manage social media and emails and organize like meeting schedules for our club. I started this my junior year to senior year. The next thing I did was also music related. I was the concertmaster / first violinist of my church orchestra. So I would perform with my orchestra at a lot of like church related events like Christmas and Thanksgiving. We would perform like classical or church related pieces at these events. And we would also work with the church choir as well. And I did this starting junior year to senior year. So the next thing I did, I put under work, and I worked as a park management intern for the New York City Parks and Recreation Agency. So basically we surveyed and analyzed data to put on story maps on newly built plazas. So we would survey like how many people were at the park and how many dogs were at the park. Also like the temperature and like the levels of like if you were most likely to get like heat stroke or other like heat related illnesses. We helped water plants at these new plazas. And we also earned FEMA certificates by going through FEMA courses, and FEMA stands for Federal Emergency Management Agency. And I did that during summer break in my junior year. The next thing I did, I put under academic, and I participated in the NYU STEP program, or the Science and Technology Entry program. So I participated in like college seminars, and we took classes. Also participated in making a book based on the different dreams of parents. And so I did this during summer break my junior year as well. And the last thing I did, I put under work. I was a local reading tutor for a self-started business, and I would read to immigrant elementary school students to help them become more fluent in their reading. So I would critique their pronunciation, make sure that they're reading correctly, and would also like ask them like comprehension questions and assign them weekly reading. And I did this my freshman year. The next part is interviews. I had 4 interviews. So I had an interview for Harvard, Columbia, MIT, and Princeton. MIT was the only one that I had in person, and the rest I had virtually. I think that it's better to have them in person just because I feel like it's easier to have a connection with them in person rather than like through a screen. But like most of the time you can't really like, you don't really have a choice. And I would say for interviews to not stress out that much, because I feel like interviews are like not a huge part of your application. Like it can really elevate your application, but it doesn't usually like hurt your application that much. But I would say one thing that you should do is at the end of your interview, like maybe like a few hours, like definitely within the next 24 hours, you should definitely send them a thank you email, because that just shows how appreciative you are about like the use of their time and that they took the effort and the time to give you an interview. I just wanted to add on to some of the tips that I gave in the last clip because I forgot them when I was recording it. But one tip that I would also give for interviews is to have some common interview questions rehearsed. So a really simple question, a really common question is, tell me about yourself, because I swear for all of my college interviews, this was the first question that they asked me, and I think it's really good to have some sort of a plan rehearsed. So it doesn't have to be like word by word rehearsed robotic, but just have a simple flow and some things that you want to talk about. I think a good way to start is talk about yourself, your background, where you're from, something like that, and then move on to some main extracurriculars in your application, because this gives a really good opportunity for them to give follow-up questions, and then at the end say that you're really excited and you're really grateful for the opportunity to have this interview. Another tip is to make it seem like this is your top school. Even though it might not be your top school, you always want to make it seem like this is your top choice, because that makes you feel more eager and makes you just seem like you want to go to the school if you were accepted. Yeah. Those are all my ECs. If you guys have any questions about anything, you guys can comment. Or if you have any other videos that you would like to see, comment. So yeah, bye. you.